Here's a chart example which I think proves the point we're trying to make quite clearly. And to do so, I'm going to compare two types of reversal conformations on the same chart, one being a trendline break, the other being MACD. And we're going to compare where we're at in terms of price action on one versus the other. So even though we haven't yet explained how to draw trend lines, I've gone ahead and done so here anyway, whereby we have a high conveyed by this first red arrow, a lower high conveyed by the second red arrow, and in fact a third high in alignment, perfectly respecting this falling resistance trend line. And the idea here is very simply that when you have a bullish close, in this case a strong up close, through that resistance trend line, there's some indication of a directional bias reversal from down to up. And that happens by the close of the breakout bar, which means the open of the very next, giving us the bullish bias, just based on the trend line break that I'm pointing to here. And again, we'll cover all these topics in greater detail as we go. To achieve the same result, MACD has to cross up and through its trigger line or signal line, which it does on the close of this histogram bar I'm pointing to, which happens to align with the close of this bar on the price panel I'm pointing to. In other words, the open of this bar. We've got a bullish reading on MACD confirmed, but look what happens. It's too late in the game. Price is almost at an interim top, and then it starts chopping around, at the very least making it, for a while anyway, for a period of a couple of days, a difficult trade. Again, at best, at worst, there might have been a stop trigger here. So all things being equal, I would rather have the directional bias confirmed on the open of this bar than on the open of the next. And it's the difference in timing between a trendline break shown here and a lagging crossover reading on MACD shown below, which makes that difference between a good trade and a bad trade. Granted, this is a somewhat cherry-picked example to prove a point, and there will be plenty of exceptions where a premature trendline break perhaps was belied by an indicator that didn't confirm it, but nothing works the same way 100% of the time in trading. We always have to deal with a balance of probabilities. And I can tell you, having studied this issue over a period of thousands of chart examples and many years, it is definitely, in my mind at least, a truism that more often than not, trendline analysis, in this case showing a directional reversal, will be more effectively and timely indicated by a trendline break itself as compared to an indicator crossover. And again, I'm not trying to pick on MACD, it's just an example of a popular off-the-shelf indicator. But because the 12 to 26.9 settings, again, are arbitrary, they have nothing to do whatsoever with what's happening on price itself, that's going to result in lagging or sometimes even inaccurate readings. Price is always more accurate than anything else, and that is often conveyed by trendline analysis as shown in this chart example.